If you received any form of stimulus over the past 4 years, well, guess what? The United States government could be coming back to take that from you. That includes any of the $1,200 stimulus checks, the $600 stimulus checks, the $1,400 stimulus checks, any PPP funding, any type of additional benefit, including the enhanced employment, the unemployment benefit. If you receive that, guess what? The U.S. government could be coming back to take that from you. Now, today I'm going to break down what's happening right now, the fight that is taking place today, that is actually going to cause millions and millions of people to lose their jobs. Thousands of businesses are going to go under, and things will ultimately change. So, if you received any stimulus, make sure you watch this entire video, and I'll explain exactly what is going on. Also, share this video with your friends, your family, and your colleagues over on Facebook so they too know exactly what is happening. But again, all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So millions of people received those $1,200 stimulus checks, those $600 stimulus checks, and the $1,400 checks. But they were told that those never had to be repaid. They were told that you do not have to pay those back because that's free money for you. Well, guess what? That caused massive inflation. That caused many businesses to go under. People can't afford to live. Everything is harder now than it was before the pandemic. Well, here's what's going on. The IRS is now being asked to look into some of the spending and the improper tax credits that are trying to be claimed now. Look at this. It says the IRS to reject billions of dollars in improper pandemic-era small business tax credit claims. This right here is troubling because this is what experts believe is going to cause thousands and thousands of businesses to completely go under because these credits are exactly what they need to stay afloat. I want to read something to you, okay? Because here's the concern. This is what I was talking to somebody, and we had a very lengthy conversation just the other day about the federal government trying to come back and recoup the money that they spent over the past 4 years. Because right now, the U.S. government has spent too much money, and now they are severely hurting because of it. Well, experts believe that they are going to get their money back. But listen to this, okay? I want you to just listen to what this person had to say. This person wrote to me about a week ago and says, or actually 5 days ago, it says, Adam, can you do a video on the employee retention credit, specifically on why the IRS is now saying that they will deny most claims because they deem them fraudulent? I filed a claim for the employee retention credit a while back due to my business getting shut down as a result of the pandemic. I kept every employee I had and really hurt my finances in the process. But the employee retention credit was going to limit this blow, but now I'm worried that I'm not going to see any money back. Here's what you need to understand. The employee retention tax credit is a refundable tax credit against certain employment taxes. And I believe you get up to 50% of the qualified wages or something like that. Anyway, but the reason why the IRS is going after these people is because they say it was fraudulent. Look at this, okay? The IRS has a backlog of 1.1 million claims for the employee retention tax credit program. This is troubling because that's 1.1 million claims that potentially will not be paid. Guess what? The IRS, I believe, let me just read this to you, okay? It says, after the investigating more than 1 million claims worth roughly $86 billion, the IRS said in the release that it identified 10 to 20% of the highest risk filings and tens of thousands will be rejected in the coming weeks, according to the agency. It says another 60 to 70% of the claims with an unacceptable level of risk will be further examined. They're only going to pay about 10 to 20% of those 1.4 million claims, they're going to pay out that money. The other 80 to 90%, they are going to withhold that money for some time until they can do some more digging. Well, here's the reason why this is a problem. And this is the reason why I was very skeptical back when they were giving all this pandemic aid, is what happens if it is deemed fraudulent? What happens if these claims go through, but yet people shouldn't have received the money? You remember back when the first stimulus checks came out and people got $1,200? Do you remember that? Well, then it was, that person wasn't a citizen. They shouldn't have received any money. Then it was, that person, they received money, but they shouldn't have because of this and that. They made too much money. They, whatever the reasons was, right? And the IRS came back and they tried to take some of that money back, and they just did a little bit. But the IRS was underfunded at that time. Now the IRS has, tens of billions of dollars of additional funding, and now the IRS is going after everybody that received any type of funding and benefit. This includes, and again, I bring this up because this is exactly what we were concerned with back then. Now it's turning into a reality. It says, the IRS will go after anybody who benefited from pandemic era stimulus. This includes the $1,200 stimulus check, the $600 stimulus check, the $1,400 stimulus check, all the PPP loans, enhanced unemployment benefits, and so much more. This also includes, and here's where things get very interesting, is this includes any type of mortgage forbearance. If you receive this and it was fraudulent, right, then they are potentially going to come after you. If you had, any type of rental assistance, they could come after you. Not only could they come after you, this could actually cause you to lose your home. This is what experts were concerned with before. Now, I gave people this warning. I said, just be aware that if you receive any money from the federal government, that yes, they could come back and say, you know what, we need it. We need it for whatever reason. Now, the Biden administration doesn't want to increase taxes. They don't want to increase taxes on anybody that makes more than $400,000 per year. A penny more, or anybody that makes less than $400,000 per year. They don't want to raise taxes by even 1 cent. Well, they're going to have to do something in order to get some of this money back, because right now we're seeing, again, over the past few years, we saw rampant inflation. Right now, it's still over 3%. It's far off of the 2% goal that the Federal Reserve is wanting. But the issue is we have this massive amount of debt that we cannot get out from underneath. It's not going to happen. So this is why many believe that the U.S. government is going to take back everything that they've given you. Everything. They're going to take it back. And this is why I wanted to give you this little stimulus warning, is that if you received any type of funding from the U.S. federal government, any type of stimulus at all, they could potentially look into this. The IRS doesn't have to do this, this year or next year. They can do this in 5 years when they catch up to it. They can finally do it. But what they're going to do is go after the bigger companies, the people that took millions of dollars in PPP loans and the employee retention tax credits, right? If they saw that stimulus checks were going to a certain household, but yet some of those people were not alive for whatever reason, right? This is who they're going to go after. Now, I don't know if it's going to happen in the next couple weeks. I don't know if it's going to happen sometime this year, but the expectation is the only way to get that money back and to reduce our deficit, and I've talked about this before in personal finance videos, that if, let's say you go and buy $1,000 of clothing on a credit card, but yet you can't pay off that credit card, right? You don't have thousands of dollars. Well, if you don't, the easiest way to pay off that debt isn't to go get another job and bring in more money. The easiest way is to take all the items that you purchased, take them back, and receive your money. That's essentially what the U.S. government is doing. So we'll see what happens. But again, I just wanted to provide this warning to you because I know every single person that watches my channel probably received at least some form of benefit from the U.S. government over the pandemic. So we'll see what happens moving forward. The one thing I can promise you is I will be here every step of the way, and I'll fill you in on all the latest news and updates. But as of today, that is what we know. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.